Brothers and sisters, welcome. Thanks for joining me to talk about things that are just going on in America. And the craziest thing that I'm seeing in the news right now is something we've just got to talk about. It's Joe Biden pardoning his son Hunter. The press is going crazy about it. So I'm sure you got to live under a rock, if you haven't heard about this. But on Sunday, Joe Biden pardoned his son for a couple of crimes. He's charged with a few federal felonies. They're not the biggest, crimes you could possibly do. One is not paying his taxes. I don't remember the exact number, but it's somewhere on the order of $100,000, and that he owes in taxes. And the other ones are related to guns. He lied on one of the forms that you're required to sign that says that basically you're not a criminal, so you can honestly buy this gun. And the one that he lied about was he there's one on there that you're not allowed to buy guns in America if you're addicted to controlled substances, so controlled drugs. And he said he wasn't, and he got that gun, and then he got prosecuted for it, which is kind of interesting because Biden has been very big on gun control his entire career, and talking about everyone should go to jail for gun crimes, and everyone should go to jail for not paying their taxes as well, and everyone should pay more taxes according to Joe. But anyway, let's go through this and read it real quick and see what this is all about. So December 1st, that was Sunday, 2024, statement from President Joe Biden. Today I signed a pardon for my son Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere in the Justice Department's decision making, and I kept my word, even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. All right. I don't know if that's selective or unfair. I think, according to Biden, if his name wasn't Hunter Biden, this charge would never have been brought. But I actually kind of think if you are a minority who has a gun illegally, you're probably going to go to jail. Or if you're a high flying businessman who doesn't pay his taxes, you'd at least have to pay your taxes and a fine. So something would happen, but maybe you wouldn't go to jail. And he hasn't actually gone to jail yet. We will see. I do remember Wesley Snipes went to jail for not paying his taxes. So I'm not sure I agree with that statement. But again, he's seen his son selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Without aggravating factors like use in a crime, multiple purchasers, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, people are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they filled out the gun form. I'm not a lawyer, so this isn't legal advice, and I don't play one on TV, but I think that's an outright lie. Um, People do go to jail for especially if you're in Maryland, where Joe is from, or Delaware. I'm sorry, he's from Delaware. If you're from, he was the senator from Delaware. So if you're in Delaware, Maryland, Illinois, California, New York, Massachusetts, Hawaii, I think you do go to jail if you Washington D.C. if you fill out this form, if you lie on this form. And maybe they're a little more lax in some of the more pro gun rights states. I don't know, but absolutely, you go to jail. So that's not so. Uh, those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions, but paid them back subsequently with interest and penalties, are typically not are given non-criminal resolutions. It's clear that Hunter is treated differently. I don't think so. I think that statement's probably a little bit more fair. But again, I think generally you do pay a fine. But go ask Wesley Snipes. He ended up in jail for a while because he didn't pay his taxes. And so, no, I do think that you do go to jail for these sort of things, or at least a large fine. And now, to be fair, he hasn't gone to jail yet. Sentencing was on the 12th of December, and this is going to stop the sentencing in that case. All right. So the charges in his cases came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal agreed to by the Department of Justice unraveled in the courtroom, with a number of my political opponents in Congress taking credit for bringing political pressure on the process. Had the plea deal held, it would have been a fair and reasonable resolution of Hunter's cases. Now, again, that is a 100% a lie. Basically, the plea deal, and I could do another video on it if you guys are interested. If you are, put it in the comments. But the plea deal gave him immunity basically to any federal crime that he had ever done. When the judge, it was actually the judge asked the prosecutor in court if they'd ever seen a plea deal this broad, or one like this, and the prosecutor said no. They'd never done a deal like this before. It gave him immunity to everything. So that's another lie by Joe Biden, 100%. So no reasonable person who looks at the facts of the Hunter cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son, and that is wrong. There has been an effort to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober, even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution. In trying to break Hunter, they've tried to break me. There's no reason to believe it will stop there. Enough is enough. The man is the president of the United States. There's nobody trying to break Joe Biden. So yeah, this part's absolute nonsense. And Hunter is a troubled man who has had years of trouble. That, honestly, his dad was a senator, his dad was vice president, his dad's been cleaning up his messes for years. Let's just call it like I see it. For my entire career, I followed the principle: just tell the American people the truth. I don't believe that, but okay. I think I've made that clear. They'll be fair-minded. I think Americans are fair-minded. I think that is right. Here's the truth. I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process and led to a miscarriage of justice. And once I made this decision this weekend, there was no sense in delaying further. So I'll just leave that up there with you guys for a minute. You could take a look at this. This is from the President of the United States. He gave a full and unconditional pardon. I'm not going to go read through the actual pardon, but I guess I will. So Hunter Biden, a full and unconditional pardon for those offenses against the United States which he has committed or may have committed, or taken part in during the period from January 1st, 2014 through December 2024, including, not limited to, all offenses charged or prosecuted, including any that have resulted in convictions by Special Counsel David Weiss. And then it's got the details. All right, so fair enough. So there it is. He's pardoned his son. So I think, the next thing to kind of look at that I think is interesting is, what did he say 6 months ago about this? So he says up here, this weekend I decided. Okay, fair enough. What did he say a few months ago? Let's take a look at that. So ABC News, can't get more reliable than that.
Let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
You have.
I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. He has overcome an addiction.
Italy.
He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Mr. President, do you plan on appealing to the son's sentence?
Good evening. We are coming on the air with breaking news tonight. President Biden has made a decision to pardon his son Hunter ahead of the transfer of power to President-elect Donald Trump, according to a senior White House official with direct knowledge of the decision.
All right, so that's what Joe Biden had to say about it. I think he was pretty clear. He said, I will not pardon my son. I will not interfere in what the Justice Department's doing. He believes in the rule of law. I think he was pretty clear. I've seen on the internet people trying to parse his words and say, "Oh, he never."
The idea that no person is above the law is a bedrock principle of American justice.
No man is above the law, no matter what the crime.
And I agree with you. No man is above the law, and no person is above the law.
Yeah, no man is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one's above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
He has to be held accountable. He's not above the law.
No one's above the law. Either that nor any other title puts you above the rule of law.
Look here, it's not just Democrats.
Truly above the law.
That is what it means to have a rule of law. That is
Former
what it
FBI
means to
General
not have
Counsel.
a king.
They're not above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
Everyone will be treated, as Merrick Garland has said, as equally.
Well, that no one is above the law, which is foundational.
No one is above the law, even a former president.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
No one is above the law.
The law is the law, and no one should be above it.
And yes, nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one else is above the law, including a president.
Nobody is above the law. You can't have two justice systems in America. It has to be one justice system. And anybody who breaks the law should be held accountable.
So as you can see, no one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Except for Hunter Biden, at least for the last 10 years. But no one else is above the law.
Especially the president.
So it's pretty clear. Nobody's above the law, but you know what they were really talking about? They were all talking about Trump. So let me fix it for them. Trump is not above the law. Not sure about Democrats. And then, what else have they been saying about this?
The presidential promise to put the law before family.
I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
Was asked directly, and he has said he wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but he said it.
He's going to get pardoned by his dad. There's no question about that.
The president has ruled out pardoning his son.
Major commitment from the president, accepting the outcome of the trial and also pledging not to pardon his son.
So the challenge for him is really to continue to live up to his values when it was really personal, and he did that today.
It seems like a pretty normal, straightforward answer, but it takes new weight when we see what Trump is saying about the outcome of his trial, what we're hearing from other Republicans who say they don't accept the jury's verdict here in New York.
The contrast is
Biden's
profound.
so brave.
To sit there and say, well, I'm not going to intervene in the legal process, and I wouldn't pardon my son.
He's
One
so
side,
honorable. He really
Democrats
believes
and Joe
in the
Biden
law.
protecting the justice system. And on the other, Republicans and Trump protecting Trump.
Our current president of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon his son.
Yeah, Donald Trump has no respect for the law, but Joe Biden and
again,
Democrats do. See,
it's all about the contrast.
He's not
President Biden saying,
Hunter.
I will respect whatever this jury decides, versus Donald Trump after he was convicted on 34 counts, saying the entire system is rigged against him.
Their latest attack has been that Joe Biden has politicized and weaponized the DOJ, right? That was the whole argument around Donald Trump's conviction. And this week, of course, Hunter Biden was found guilty, and Joe Biden has very clearly said he would not pardon his son, he would not commute his sentence. How stark is this difference? I mean, how can Republicans keep making this argument now that Joe Biden has really put it out there? Where's Hunter? And he stood there in a courtroom, flanked by his family, and he's accepted his sentence.
He is not pardoning his son, which he could do. These are federal charges.
Right.
He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country.
Yeah.
And it isn't, I mean, if you want to know if he believes it, you could actually see what is happening with his own son.
The president, Anderson, has been really clear
So remember,
that he is going to
this was
accept
all
the outcome of
while,
the trial no matter what happens.
Trump, this was all really
Joe
about
Biden's
Trump.
gotten
This
asked
wasn't about Hunter.
talking about law and order. He's gotten asked if he would pardon his son. He has said no.
So
On
when
the
it's
other
Trump,
side, you've
this
got
is how
Donald
things are.
Trump, who has said
that he will pardon the January 6th insurrectionists. Yeah. They're not even his sons. They're just sons of bitches.
Washington said, I am not running again because he understood the self-restraint was absolutely essential to this country so you don't have a king. He did not pardon his son. He did not order the Department of Justice to say, don't prosecute my son. So impressive.
Could have ordered the Justice Department to halt the prosecution of Hunter Biden, according to this court. Everyone understands he's a decent man.
I think Joe Biden has a chance here to stand up for the rule of law, to say the law is the law, no matter who it is, no matter if it's Trump or Biden. And remember, part of Trumpism's dangerousness is that it tears down institutions, important institutions of our democracy. So there's an opportunity here for Biden to say, you know, the jury found him guilty. This is how it's supposed to work. Period, paragraph, end of story.
Have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
As I said last week, I will accept the outcome of this case and will continue to respect the judicial process as Hunter considers an appeal. You know, the president said he won't touch it. He said he's not going to pardon his son. And it seems that Merrick Garland let it go through. How can the Justice Department be weaponized against Trump when all of that is happening?
But Democrats stand for the rule of law. Remember, law and order. You know, and we've been saying that
Democrats
Trump's not above the law. Hunter Biden's not above the law. No one is above the law. And it is amazing to see the stark contrast between how Democrats handled today and how Republicans handled this whole thing over the last couple of weeks.
For years, these conservatives have been crowing about a politicized Justice Department, Biden politicizing it, and so on. What happened today?
I honestly don't know how this happened. Biden is the president of the United States. He could have had all the charges just go away.
Living son. But he didn't. You heard the president say he would accept the outcome of the case.
That also tells you something.
I know
about
no other word for that, but presidential.
He even went so far as to say he wouldn't pardon his son. That's how much respect he has for the system.
The president has said that he will not pardon his son. What did you think of that?
I thought it was extraordinary. I mean, it was a moment of just moral clarity on the part of Joe Biden, and couldn't have been in
moral clarity.
Starker
Democrats have moral
contrast
clarity.
to the way Donald Trump has handled his own conviction.
He could still pardon him. He said he won't do that. All of that conduct, given that it's his son.
Yeah, he accepted the outcome of the Hunter
Biden
trial
and think about how unbelievable that is. In a million years, if the shoe were on the other foot and Donald Trump was facing the prospect of his son being prosecuted by a Biden, me, if I had been held over, a Biden holdover or Obama holdover prosecutor, not in a million years would that have happened. So, some of the people on the right, the people who support Donald Trump, are trying to cast this as some clever ops program.
Yeah. Hunter Biden was found guilty by a jury of his peers, just like Donald Trump, because this is our justice system at work. The divide here is stunning, and it's a great reminder that one political party remains committed to the rule of law and the other doesn't.
Joe Biden has already proven he's willing to stand up for the rule of law in a way that we could all never imagine Donald Trump to do.
Pretty emphatic over the last few days that he does not plan to pardon or commute his son. What that really is him saying is, I don't plan to use the powers of the office, the powers of the presidency, to provide private relief for my family. In a sense, he's staking out a pretty bright line between being, as he says, a president and a dad. And that's not just an emotional expression. He's in effect saying, I don't think that I don't have a right, even if it's legal, and God knows it must be tempting, to use this power in a way that is not available to so many other Americans facing similar kinds of struggles. There's a kind of old school sort of flinty core to his conception of how you are to be in the system, how you are to be as a person, a moral person, and ultimately how to contend with questions of power. One of the things that anybody who spends time around Joe Biden comes to know is that he's had this long-running focus on how much he is bothered by abuses of power.
Will accept the verdict no matter what it is, and that he has ruled out pardoning his own son. Contrast that from what we hear from Donald Trump. And again, we have to underline, in no uncertain terms, President Biden saying, I will accept the outcome. I will accept what the jury decides here. That's the way our legal system works. And no, I will not pardon my own son if he is convicted.
And the contrast is so clear in terms of decency and principle and transactional
guidance in terms of how you view the
contrast is
world.
clear.
It is still a good day for the United States that this conviction is a prime example of the way our judicial system is supposed to work.
There's the contrast of two different men.
Here is Joe Biden, who has lost a son who served honorably in the armed forces, who now has basically said, I will sacrifice my surviving son's future. I will allow him to serve a prison term if that's what's determined, because that is what the rule of law demands.
The president announces that he will not pardon his son. Do you think ordinary Americans give enough thought to how this system is a miracle, a gift?
All right, so this is what they were all saying either back in 2020 when Trump was indicted for things or impeached for things. And what they were saying in June after Hunter was convicted of crimes. So let's see what they're saying now.
Our current president of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon his son. President Biden has issued a full and unconditional pardon for his son, Hunter.
Then another one. Let's see what Joy Reid has to say about it.
The presidential pardon was originally meant to grant the president the power to temper justice with mercy. It was not enshrined in our Constitution so that a dishonorable man could reward his criminal allies, friends, and family for their corrupt practices.
I don't have a problem with Biden pardoning his son. He should have pardoned him. The crazies are coming, right? But to me, it's like pardon more.
Yeah. So when it's Trump that we're talking about, they're so brave. They've got the moral high ground because they're following the rule of law no matter what. But when it's Hunter that's in the hot seat, the son of the president, the shoe's on a different foot. Hey, let's see what the ladies I don't really like the ladies from The View, but let's see what Whoopi and the other ladies from The View had to say about it.
Missing my question. Okay. My question is, what is it that makes people flip out with Joe, but we don't have the same kind of thing?
Well, I don't think people are flipping out with Joe. I think Democrats are flipping out with Joe because Democrats believe that they don't represent what he's currently representing. But that's just not true. That's why I say they stand on this moral high ground that simply does not exist. And I think this is also the problem when we pick sides, right? We've turned political parties into teams. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Ain't nobody more delusional than me, right? Okay? I feel like we're going to the Super Bowl every year.
I like this guy.
I'm not delusional.
Charlemagne the God.
Delusional. But when it comes,
he's reasonable.
But when it comes to political
yeah, why can't we
parties,
say when our
if
team
you say
is
you're a
messing
Democrat,
up?
If you say you're a Republican, you refuse to be objective.
Why do we
about
have to
anything.
tell lies?
Yes, but that's
and I think that's the best way to go.
But that's not a monolith. We're not.
Yeah.
Democrats are not a monolith.
But why can't you say when Democrats are wrong? And why can't Republicans say when Republicans are wrong?
I'll tell you when Democrats are
wrong. So you don't think Joe Biden is wrong?
No, I
don't. And can I just point this out to you? The president has a pardon power,
you're
right?
ridiculous.
I didn't say you were ridiculous, Ms. Goldberg.
Yeah,
I would never. I said that. I just think that's
Think about it. Just think about it this way.
Got to go makeup.
Just very quickly, can you reframe it in this way? Think about it maybe in this way. The president has the ultimate
Wonder if
pardon
Whoopi's
power.
putting any
Every
bakeries out of
president has
business
done
this week.
Right? And so what people are saying is that Joe Biden is now a liar, as opposed to Joe Biden is someone who now knows that the person that is going to be in the White House is on a revenge tour.
Joe Biden is a liar.
On enemies list.
There's
and so
no
he's
doubt.
using his rightful power, his rightful political power, to pardon his son. Now, is that a lie, or is that perhaps being pragmatic, having a change of opinion, as opposed to the president-elect who has lied almost 40,000 times during his first term?
Well, I can't say what it is because I'm not in
who has the moral high ground? Like, what's the faux outrage?
Neither one of them have the moral high ground. That's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. But when you are a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican, you refuse to be objective about the other party. Like it's like we're watching them do something wrong, but we're making excuses for it. We watch Republicans do things wrong and they make excuses for it. Why can't we just all be objective and call it what it is?
Because it's not the same.
Yeah, so I think I like Charlemagne the God. He's a reasonable person. It's like, yeah, why are they telling lies? Why are we defending them when they're telling obvious lies? If you just look at all of Joe Biden's presidency, he's lied all through the presidency. And but see, the thing here is all politicians lie. So yeah, Trump lies too. I'm not saying Trump doesn't lie. He lies all the time. But don't go and say, hey, your guy lies, but the other guy doesn't lie. It just seems crazy to me, the way they do that. But Charlemagne's got it right. Tell it like it is. I think a lot of Democrats, the reasonable ones, do feel betrayed because they actually did believe he would do what he said he would do. That's really the unfortunate thing in this. As crazy as that may sound, because I, you know, I never would have, seen it myself. So, you know, another interesting thing about this is it's not that the president lies, all presidents lie. It's not that, Hunter, broke the law. He's a troubled kid. I don't think anyone really cares about that. I think it's a lot about what Charlemagne said. We're taking sides. America likes to take sides. We're very tribal. And if you're not part of our tribe, you're in the wrong. And we'll fight for our side no matter what. Now, I think that's okay. That's just how people are. But we've really got to be doing a little bit of critical thinking here, and just realize that, hey, guys, both sides lie. It's really bad when one side, liberals, Democrats, are saying the other side lies. Oh, but we're perfect. We have the moral high ground. No, everyone is just people, getting along, doing their thing. Now, what do I think about all of this? It's like, of course, Biden was going to pardon his son. And it's crazy to me that all of the media and Democrat politicians were so so cheering Biden on, how great Biden was because he was willing to sacrifice his son. What is it, Jesus and God? On the altar of justice. No, that's nonsense. And I think any reasonable person knew Biden was going to pardon Hunter. What father would not pardon his son and get him out of a jam if he could? Of course he was. And, to say that, oh, he had thoughts at the last minute to do it because he thought Trump was going to be vindictive and come after Hunter. And so he needed to stop it because this was all political. Well, now it's his Justice Department. So he's kind of admitting that his Justice Department is political. That's what he's said. That's what Trump's been saying for a long time, and why Trump is going to get in there and fix it. So it's just crazy. But no, I don't believe that at all. It's Biden was always going to pardon his son. Why didn't he do it? It's not because he had the moral high road. It was because there's an election year. Come on, let's just observe the real facts. Let's think critically about this. Biden didn't want to hurt his chances of getting reelected. He wanted to go into this election and say, hey, I'm the good guy. Trump's the orange man bad. He sends mean tweets. Vote for me. So he couldn't politically pardon his son. Why did he do it now? His son is getting his sentencing on the 12th. So next week. And so he really will be a convicted felon next week, and the judge could order him thrown in jail next week. Biden doesn't want that, so he's pardoned him. So that is really what happened, and any reasonable person, I think, would agree with that. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. And if it's a good argument, maybe I'll make an update. If you like this stuff, like and subscribe. But what am I really worried about in this? I'm not worried that Biden pardoned his son. I think the crimes on the relative scale of crimes were relatively minor. And of course, a father pardons his son. What I worry about, though, is the media, which is really, if you can't tell from watching what you just watched, they're a part of the Democratic Party. They're Democratic Party operatives. Come on. They're just cheerleaders for the Democratic Party. The media is talking about how minor these crimes really are. And even, Biden himself, Joe, said, hey, no one goes to jail for these things. Well, this is the tip of the iceberg. If you really look back at what the whistleblower, the IRS whistleblower said about Hunter, there's lots more crimes. But the prosecutors ran the clock out. Why would they do that? The father was the vice president and is the president. That's easy. And it's just politically it went all public and they were forced to prosecute him. That's what really happened. Or the Department of Justice would look bad. Again, I think Biden should have just closed the whole thing down and just said, you know what, I don't care, shut her down. He 100% had the ability and authority to do that. He chose not to. So what do I worry about going forward? There's lots of other crimes, and one of them is, or lots of them are probably related to this. So, the House investigators have released new details on just how much money Hunter Biden made from foreign clients, most while his father was vice president. So, really, this really sheds some light on there may be something to the Republicans saying that there is a kind of Biden crime family, syndicate, like that, and so where did all this money come from? Why did China give Hunter $8.1 million? And I'm not going to go through this. Why did Ukraine give 6.5 million from Burisma? Which that one is really irony because Trump started pressuring the people in Ukraine to investigate Burisma, which I think would have led back to Hunter Biden. And what happened? The Democrats impeached him over that. And now look what happens, to Hunter. Now Hunter has a pardon for the same thing, the same, connected kind of thing that Trump was looking into. It's crazy. Russia gives $3.5 million. Romania gives 3.1. Kazakhstan gave 142,000. I think that was the car. They gave him a car, $140,000 car to buy to Hunter. So why did Hunter get all of this? I'll tell you why. Hunter got all of this because his father was vice president. And so this is an obvious influence peddling. Why are the Bidens as rich as they are? It's influence peddling. And I think that a lot of that is potentially illegal. Again, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know, but I think it's probably illegal. And what Biden is really doing is making sure that that Trump can't come after Hunter in the future for some of this stuff where the statute of limitations hasn't expired yet. And so that's what the pardon is really all about. And then the last thing I want to say about the pardon is this. So if we go back to the original document down at the bottom, I'd just like to call your attention to this part. What's the period of the pardon? It's for those offenses against the United States which he committed or may have committed. They don't even name the crime, or taken part in during the period January 1st, 2014 through December 1st, 2024. Okay. Look, anybody notice something about those dates? He's given him a blanket pardon for anything he did or might have done for the last 10 years. So Burisma was about 10 years ago. If you look right here from 2000, source Burisma started in 2014. So it really looks like Biden is covering up, this large criminal conspiracy that Hunter was the main guy accepting the money for the family over the last 10 years. He's not giving him a pardon for the 3 crimes that he did. And then look at the end date. It ends December 1st, 2024. So it went all the way through, the date of the pardon, the actual date of the pardon, anything he might have done. So, so brothers and sisters, I think it's obvious that there's definitely some crime here, and it really does look shady for the Biden family, in my view. And so the thing to watch out for now is Hunter got his pardon because his sentencing was about to come up. I will not be surprised if he issues another pardon for members of his family that they were funneling money through, I personally believe Hunter was getting money for influence peddling, and he was channeling that back to the big guy being Joe Biden, but also other members of the family. So I think we see more pardons of the family. And so this is shocking. This is horrible. Um, this is so against the rule of law and so against what America stands for, that it's just shocking. I mean, this is just like Nixon and Watergate. This is just as big as that. And this makes, Biden will go down as one of the worst presidents in history, I believe. And I'm not saying Trump is going to be the best president in history, but this should open some people's eyes about what's really going on, and that we need a change. And thank goodness this change is coming January 20th. We'll have challenges with Trump, but you know, I'm hoping we don't have anything like this. All right, thanks, brothers and sisters. If you like this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like it, like and subscribe. Hit the button, you know what to do. And leave in the comments your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did I get it completely wrong? Tell me. I'll do updates if necessary.